Hello and welcome to Retro Reviews, my channel where I review my favorite retro video games of all time as well as some modern releases I have recently finished. And welcome to Smash Saturdays, my new series where I'm going to be talking about everything Smash leading up to the next Smash game. And today I want to talk about splitting the Smash roster in half, what that would look like for Smash 6. I've seen a bunch of these videos being floated around on the internet, and so I wanted to do my own take on cutting the roster in half and give some criteria as well. This is assuming that none of the characters will be majorly changed. They're not going to do a big rework on like Dark Samus, for instance. If she was going to make it into the next game, be an Echo Fighter again. Same thing with Daisy, Dark Pit, stuff like that. So that's my biggest criteria going into this new game. The rest of it is going to be just my personal opinion. These are characters that I enjoy the most that are going to be making it into the roster. Characters I don't like nearly as much probably won't make it in. There'll probably be some surprise picks, especially if you saw my video talking about which characters should be deleted from Smash. I might actually include a couple of those in the final roster. We'll have to see though. So with that out of the way, let's get into the roster. So here is UltimateSmashTierList.com. This is what I'm going to be using to get rid of half the cast here. We're going to have the keep right here at the top and remove at the bottom tier. Kind of go through as quickly as possible. I'll just do a few at a time on both sides, and we'll get through this list pretty quickly. First and foremost, we're going to keep Mario, we're going to keep Luigi, Peach, Wario, and Bowser. I think these five in the Mario franchise are especially good to keep. I think Wario acts as a nice foil for Mario, and he plays so differently than the other Mario characters. I think he's a shoo-in to keep. I think Mario and Luigi, obviously, mainstays. They're the Mario brothers, the reason we have Smash Brothers, so we keep them for sure. Peach is a great protagonist as well in her own right. She has a new game recently. She's the big princess in the game, so we're absolutely keeping Peach. And Bowser, of course, the main antagonist of the game. So, yeah, it's good to keep the villains. I want to keep as many villains as possible in this final roster. Some of the characters I'm going to be calling right away. We're going to get rid of some echoes. We're going to go with Daisy. We don't need Daisy if we have Peach. We're going to get rid of Dark Samus. I don't think we need that character either. Dark Pit. We're going to get rid of Ken. We're going to get rid of Chrom. I think these echoes really need to go. I don't see any need, if we're cutting the roster in half, to keep echoes. Either make them a skin or just get rid of them all entirely. Character you might... Let's go with Link next. Ganondorf and Zelda. We're going to get the Triforce here. I think they're shoo-ins, musts, haves. We're going to have all three members of the Triforce, but I'm actually going to be getting rid of Young Link and Toon Link. As much as I love Wind Waker, it's one of my favorite video games of all time. Same with Ocarina, actually. I don't think we need these two. And again, assuming that we're not doing big changes for these characters that feel like Echo Fighters, even if they're not specifically Echoes, I don't think there's any reason to keep either of these characters. And you know what? While we're at it, we're going to get rid of Sheik. This is kind of a legacy pick. Again, an Ocarina of Time specific character. We haven't seen Sheik a whole lot since, so I don't think it really makes sense to keep her around. Again, cutting the roster in half, we need to do some culling. We need to get rid of some characters. I'm going to do one surprise pick really fast with Banjo. I think because it took him so long to make it into this game, people have been requesting him for such a long time, it makes sense to keep him around. I think he'd have a much better shot at a better overall powerful moveset in the next game. We've seen characters like Palutena go from really bad to really broken in this game, so I would really like to see a second shot at Banjo, and I think he deserves another chance here. We'll also go with Star Fox here. I think the Star Fox series clearly isn't relevant anymore, but Fox is such a legacy pick in terms of how well he's done in the competitive meta and how important he is and synonymous he is with Smash in general. I think it's important to keep him, and we'll also keep Wolf while we're at it. I think Wolf is a great villain. Let's keep him in the final roster. But I'm going to get rid of Falco. He was pretty much an Echo starting in Melee, although he doesn't have the Echo moniker. He played pretty much exactly like Fox did in a lot of ways. His moveset specifically, I guess they play a little bit differently, but their moveset feels very similar, so we're going to get rid of him. I just don't think he's valuable for cutting the roster in half. Another character I think is Dr. Mario. We don't need him. Pichu, it doesn't make any sense to keep around. There really is no reason to keep Pichu around if we're going to keep Pikachu, and we're definitely keeping Pikachu, the head of Pokemon here, the face of the franchise. Another couple of picks I'm going to be keeping for the Pokemon franchise. We're going to keep Pokemon Trainer. I think this is a great pick. The fact that you're representing the three original starters is really cool. I'm going to be counting this as just like a single character, even though they're represented as three different characters on like the Smash Brothers site. We're going to keep Pokemon Trainer in. I think it's a great idea. If you wanted to do skins of like different generations, I think that would be really sick too. But regardless of that, I think Pokemon Trainer is a great pick. I'm actually going to keep a couple others as well. I'm going to keep Greninja, and I'm going to keep Incineroar. I think these two, Greninja especially, has been one of the most popular Pokemon, especially in the anime. I think Incineroar has cemented himself as a really popular Pokemon, not just from the games, but in like competitive Pokemon play. I think he's a really cool pick in Smash Brothers in general. He's a cool heavy character because he's a grappler. We don't really have grapplers in this game, but he feels like the closest thing to a grappler. So I'm absolutely going to be keeping him in this game. Some other picks I want to get rid of while we're at it and rip the Band-Aid off. I'm going to get rid of Ness. The Mother series is really old and really irrelevant at this point. And in that same move, we're going to get rid of Lucas. I don't mind these characters. I think they're mildly annoying, but overall they're cool and they represent the legacy of Smash since Ness was in the original roster. But honestly, I don't think that they're valuable enough to keep around for the final roster here. Again, we're going to get rid of some other characters. Another franchise I want to omit completely is Animal Crossing. Let's get rid of Isabelle and Villager. I think if you're going to keep one of the two in a final roster, you'd keep Isabelle over Villager. Player characters are a cool idea, but I don't think that works as much as Isabelle since she is like the face of the franchise. So, but I think it's better to just get rid of both of them. I think their playstyles are really uninspired. I think they're pretty lame. I don't think they really fit in the Smash universe, at least in my brain. So we're going to get rid of them. I'm going to be keeping the Kirby franchise intact. This is Sakurai's baby, and he made the Kirby games, so I think we're going to keep all three of them. I think it's great to keep them in. I think they're a huge franchise, obviously, and so we're going to keep Kirby, Meta Knight, and King Dedede, if for nothing else than to just say we love Sakurai and show appreciation to him. I would actually love to see another Kirby character make it in. The fact that there's only three of them, I think we can afford to keep them all in the game pretty handily. Let's get rid of some other characters, some legacy picks. Rob, this is a toy from the Nintendo Entertainment System. I think he really doesn't deserve to be in Smash any longer. Same with Mr. Game & Watch. I think he was a cool idea. The fact that he's representing like Nintendo's history is pretty sick, but I don't think we need him anymore, especially if we're going to be cutting the roster down so much. I know I keep saying that, but really we need to be cutting some of this chaff, and I feel like these characters don't really make sense long term for a new Smash roster. In that same breath, we're going to get rid of Duck Hunt too. Again, probably one of the most ultimate legacy picks that you have since he represents the original Nintendo Entertainment System, but I don't think we need him anymore. Let's go with the Donkey Kong franchise next. We're going to keep all three. I think if you're going to cull one, probably Diddy Kong, but I think they're just too iconic here. I'm going to keep Donkey Kong, Diddy, and King K. Rool. Donkey Kong, obviously the leader of the bunch, the protagonist of the first DKC game. Diddy Kong being the second protagonist, both of them showing up in Donkey Kong 64, and of course King K. Rool showing up as the main antagonist in most of the Donkey Kong games. I think it's great to have villains, and I really love to see them stick around. Let's get rid of a couple more here, though. I think Wii Fit Trainer doesn't make sense anymore. We have like the Ring Fit Adventure, which doesn't have the Wii Fit Trainer anymore. We have some more like games in the genre that don't represent Wii Fit anymore, so I think it makes sense to get rid of her. I also think we should get rid of Pyre and Mithra, not because they're annoying or like too strong or anything. I think they're mostly fine, and they could be toned down a little bit in the next game and it would work just fine, but the fact that they got in over like Rex is weird. The fact that they're wielding like I just think all around Pyre and Mithra is a weird inclusion. I'm surprised that they ended up getting in the game, so I think that they don't make as much sense in the final roster. Same with Min Min. It doesn't make sense to represent ARMS. ARMS isn't a huge franchise. I don't know why they even decided that. I think she's probably the worst designed character in all of Smash history. It doesn't make sense to have such incredible range for a character that can also kill you at nothing. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me why they included this character in the final roster. So I'm definitely going to be cutting Min Min here. I think most people would be fine with that. Next, let's go with the Metroid series. We're definitely going to keep Samus and Ridley. In that same breath, though, I don't think we need Zero Suit Samus. This character was like a show off of the final Smash. It was kind of just a gimmick to show off Samus's final Smash. All of a sudden she turns into Zero Suit Samus. I think she's a cool character. I like that she does play so differently than regular Samus, but I also don't think we necessarily need her. It's similar thing to Sheik. I don't think we need this other version of this character. We don't need another version of Zelda that plays weirdly differently and that doesn't represent the franchise anymore. Zero Suit Samus was just in like Metroid Zero Mission, maybe in another one. I can't remember if she's made any other appearances, but I don't think that she needs to be sticking around any longer. I also don't really love Rosalina Luma, and again, I know I talked about this in my let's get rid of these characters, but I think that she does have some mainstay in the Mario franchise. She was in the Mario Galaxy games exclusively, but then made it into stuff like Mario 3D World. So there is a case to be made that we keep Rosalina, but I just don't particularly like her playstyle. I don't think she is the most inspired moveset. I just think it'd be better for Smash if we got rid of her. So I think it makes sense to cull her if we're getting rid of half the cast here. I would like to keep Inkling. I think the Splatoon series is here to stay. It's incredibly fun. Most people love the series. I think it makes sense to keep Inkling. I'd also really love to keep, where is he? Hero. I think Hero is a fantastic... Oops, I put him in the remove. I think we should keep Hero. He represents a huge series in Japan especially, and I think that's a nice thing. We keep Banjo and Hero together. I think they're both fantastic picks. So I think we keep Hero here, and we'll get rid of some other characters down the line. I think he's a good character to keep in the roster. One that I kind of missed in the Mario characters, I'm going to put Yoshi up here. I know he's kind of got his own franchise, but he technically is synonymous with the Mario. So I'm going to keep Yoshi. I think he makes sense as a good pick. I don't love how he's played in most of the games, but he is very cool. A lot of people love Yoshi. I don't see any reason to cut him from the final roster. But I do see need to cut characters like Jigglypuff and Mewtwo. As cool as Mewtwo is and as synonymous he is with the Pokemon franchise, I think he's too old of legendary. We don't really need him. I don't think we need Lucario either. I think we can get rid of both of them. And Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is just really an outdated design by far. The best she ever was in Melee. She almost got cut in Smash 4. So there are lots of reasons to cut her. I do like Jigglypuff. I don't want you to get it wrong, but I think with the way her moveset is and the fact that, you know, like I said, the prerequisite for this list is that they're not going to have any major overhauls. I don't think she makes sense to keep perpetuating this moveset over and over again. So I'd rather just get rid of her. I don't think she fits as well in the final roster. Let's move on to some other characters I think should stay. Let's get to the Fire Emblem characters. I think we have way too many, but I think a couple that can absolutely stay are Marth and Ike. I think these two characters are really fantastic. Marth especially seems like the face of the Fire Emblem franchise for Smash Brothers in particular. I like that Ike is significantly different. I like that he's more of like a heavy body, big sweeping attacks, more laggy, but like a really cool idea. And I like how Ike is. I don't love him in Ultimate, but I do like him in Brawl. I thought he was interesting in Smash 4. So I think these two should absolutely stay. We already got rid of Lucina and Chrom. Or did we get rid of Lucina? Oh, nope, we didn't. We're going to get rid of Lucina right now. We're going to get rid of Lucina as an Echo Fighter. I don't like Echo Fighters in general. We're going to get rid of her. I think we're also going to get rid of Corrin. Where is Corrin? Right here. I think Corrin made sense when she came out, when he or she came out, but it's just another sortie. You can say that that it is very different from the other characters in the Fire Emblem franchise, but I don't love keeping Corrin here. I think it doesn't make a lot of sense here. We are going to keep Pac-Man and Mega Man though. These are great legacy picks because of their staying power and how popular they are and how fantastic they've been for so long. I think they make the most sense to actually stay in Smash Brothers as legacy picks. But we will get rid of characters like Little Mac. Little Mac haven't had a new game in a long time. I don't think we need to keep him. Another Echo, let's just get rid of him right now. Let's get rid of Richter. We'll keep Simon. I think Simon is a great pick to represent the Castlevania franchise. I think that's a really good one to keep in line. I don't see any reason to get rid of him. You could say third party, but I really like what he represents, so I'm going to be keeping him in the roster. But we'll get rid of Richter because, again, we're going to get rid of Echoes. Another one that kind of feels like an Echo. I know Roy has differentiated himself from Marth in a lot of ways, but again, this is another one of those, like, let's keep the face with Marth, and let's get rid of Roy, get rid of Lucina. And you know what? Let's keep getting rid of some more. I think we just get rid of Robin. And as cool as Byleth is, I do like Byleth in Smash Ultimate. I think they're a really cool character. As much as it was like a snooze fest when they announced another Fire Emblem character as DLC of all things. And the fact that it uses so many different cool things, I think, again, we have too many Fire Emblem characters. I don't think we need this much representation. Instead, we can get like a new rep from the newest game in the next Smash game. I think that makes more sense than keeping a character like Byleth or Corrin or Robin that feel maybe a little bit irrelevant at this point. They were relevant when they came to the series. Let's get rid of them now. Let's go back to some characters that I want to keep in the game. Let's keep Pit. I think Pit is a really good pick. Again, this represents Sakurai. Why can't I find him? There he is. I think this represents like one of Sakurai's franchises. I think it's a good choice to pick through Pit. We're going to get rid of Palutena, though. I don't think Palutena needs to stick around, sorry. But I think Pit is a good choice. I wish, again, Dark Pit, if he was like very different from Pit, represented a good villain of the franchise, that would be awesome. But I think we can keep one character from the franchise in because it is Sakurai. Otherwise, I would just be calling Pit as well. I think that would have been, that could be a good idea, but I think just for that sake, we're going to keep him in. We're also going to keep Ryu. The face of Street Fighter. I think that's a fantastic pick. We absolutely need to keep more FGC characters in the game. I think Bayonetta is a cool pick too. The fact that she's in Smash at all is kind of a mystery, a wild like thing that actually happened because the M-rated material that she comes from, but I think she plays incredibly cool. I like the way she is in Smash, despite being broken in Smash 4 and really good in this one. I think she's really sick. Same thing with Joker. Very stylish. Adds a lot of flair to Smash. Can do a lot of really cool things. Keeps like the gameplay fairly fast and up tempo, and I like that a lot. I think we'll also keep Shulk. I mentioned we were getting rid of Pyra and Mithra earlier. Let's keep a Xenoblade rep. Shulk has remained relevant in the franchise for a long time, despite several games coming out. I think if they want to give another Xenoblade rep, they just get it from 3, or if there's a 4th one coming out, they go with that. I think that those make sense to actually keep in the game. Another one I want to get rid of, though, is Bowser Jr. I don't think we need Bowser Jr. I think the Clown Car was an okay idea. I don't think he's especially unique or anything like that, so I think we're going to get rid of him. We're also going to get rid of Olimar. I know Pikmin 4 just came out. I love Pikmin. It's one of my favorite franchises. I don't know. I've never felt like Olimar fit the Smash Brothers theme very well. I don't think he works nearly as well as anybody wants him to, especially me. I think he's more annoying than fun in any capacity. I think he just slows down the game a lot. We're going to keep Captain Falcon. This one, it might be controversial because if I'm culling the original roster, a lot of them that are not relevant, F-Zero is one of the biggest candidates to go. But Captain Falcon is too cool. Honestly, that's the biggest reason I'm keeping him. He is too cool. I think he ups the tempo of the game. He is really fun. A very easy character to pick up and play. I think that's very valuable to keep in the roster, so I'm going to be keeping Captain Falcon. I'm also going to be keeping Steve. As much as I hate him in this game, the fact that he has such a unique moveset is so cool, and I think we should keep him in the game. He represents the second best-selling video game of all time, only behind Tetris. Outside of Tetris, the best-selling video game by far. So I think there is a reason to keep Steve in the game. I think he represents a lot of gaming culture, and I think it's great to keep him in. I think if they tune the blocks, especially the block mechanic, they change and tweak that a bit, then we have a great character in the game. Before they started getting all the broken setups and everything, people weren't worried about Steve, and I wasn't worried about Steve either. I didn't mind that he was in the game. I just wasn't going to play him. So I think Steve actually is a great pick to keep in the game. Same with Snake. Again, this might be like not very relevant anymore, but he's such an interesting and cool character and represents a lot of gaming history and gaming culture. I think it makes more sense to keep him than to cut him in the final roster. Character I do think that we should cut in the final roster, though, is Kazuya. I don't think he works especially well in Smash. Again, one of the worst designed characters. He's got too many crazy buttons. Maybe if you nerf some of the things, but then I don't know if he feels like Kazuya anymore, so I would rather just get rid of him entirely. I don't think he deserves to be sticking around. And honestly, same with Terry. As much as I really like Terry, I like Terry players. They're super cool. I don't think he fits. I don't think he makes sense in a long term staying in Smash. He represents a more niche franchise in like already a niche fighting game thing. So I like that he's in here. I think he's very cool, but we don't need him. Another character I can't believe I haven't cut till now is Piranha Plant. There's absolutely no reason. He's a funny joke character. The fact that Sakurai made an actual Piranha Plant work in Smash, fantastic. It's super cool. I like that, but we're gonna get rid of him. Next, we're gonna keep Cloud. Again, more relevant recently. With the remakes and everything. We're also going to keep Sephiroth since Final Fantasy VII is so popular at this point, making a huge comeback with the remakes, like I said before. And I think the hero and villain thing, again, we need more villains. I think both of them are fantastic. I think they're good for Smash. So we're going to keep them in the game. We're also going to be keeping Sora. I debated about this for a while. I think the fact that Sora came to Smash in the first place is a really fantastic thing. And I think that we should keep him if we can. I would like to keep him around in the final roster if at all possible, just because it was such a huge moment to encapsulate what Ultimate, like the final character of Ultimate. I thought that was fantastic. And the last character we're going to keep is Sonic the Hedgehog. There's no reason not to keep Sonic. I think, well, there is a lot of reasons not to keep Sonic. He's really annoying. His moveset is really uninspired. I feel like they have so much source material to work with for Sonic, and they really dropped the ball with his design. It's just baffling to see that he plays the way he does for so many Smash games. But I think if they tweaked his moveset a little bit, they wouldn't have to change a whole lot. They could make him a more exciting and interesting character. So that means we're going to be getting rid of a few other characters. Ice Climbers, again, legacy pick, doesn't make sense to have in Smash. Should have called them earlier. We're going to get rid of the Ice Climbers, and we're going to get rid of the Miis. I know this is probably unpopular because I've seen some comments talking about how, like, customizable characters and like player characters are so cool and like I can do my own thing. The problem is, like, if you're playing online, you're playing in a tournament or whatever, like especially if you're playing online, you won't know what the character's moveset is because it's customizable. I think they represented a huge problem in Smash 4 because of like size and everything. The fact that you don't have that problem in Smash Ultimate, but I think the characters themselves are really, really boring. That's the biggest reason I want to cut them. It's not because I don't want player customization. I think they can maybe do something else instead in their place, but I think the Miis are outdated at this point. This is way back in the Wii, like that we had the Mii avatars. The Wii U is when they got introduced in the first place. They kind of exist still on the Switch, but not really. We've kind of moved on from the Mii, so I'd like to see them do something else for a player character. I just really don't like what they are. I don't think they're fun. I don't think they improve the game at all. So that's going to be my keep and remove list, cutting the roster in half. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. What characters would you get rid of? What would you keep? If you have some shifts in my list, let me know what you would do down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.